here with Dan Fox, our Senior Field Marketing Manager here at Interactions. Thanks so much for sitting down with me today, Dan.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron.
So we're here today to talk a little bit about collections, and specifically collections during tax season. Can you help me understand a little bit about what the seasonality means to the industry?
Yeah, absolutely. Tax season for collections agencies are a lot like the holiday season for retail organizations. So the same way you have to ramp up operations during the holiday season to account for a lot of new traffic, collections agencies have the same thing within tax season. So as we know, 35.5% of consumers plan to pay off debt using their tax refund this year.
35.
It's huge.
It is, yeah.
So we know that as consumers are more willing to pay off this debt, agencies have to increase the amount of contacts that they're making to customers. So there's a really great opportunity to drive additional revenue during tax season for these agencies, but as that often involves increasing operations in a massive way.
And so what are organizations doing right now to combat the seasonality?
Adding staff.
Right.
So traditionally, more outbound contacts means more phone calls, and more phone calls means more agents.
Right.
And there's a lot of complexity that comes behind that when you're adding that temporary staff that you may not need for the whole year. So you have this temporary staff come in, and they can often affect your company culture. It can often be really expensive to hire, train, retain those folks.
Sure.
And on top of that, it may be difficult to keep them compliant. So in the face of increasing regulation from the CFPB, as we know, those new agents may not know or may not say all the right things all the time. So organizations are leaving themselves with a little bit of vulnerability during this time.
Right. And so what could we do with AI to help that?
So we're really excited about AI in the form of intelligent virtual assistants, right? So this new technology actually can interact with consumers in the same way that they would with an agent.
That's great.
But it doesn't come with the same embarrassment that getting contacted by a live person may. And what we're finding is that consumers actually are embracing this technology in a big way, and that a lot of consumers may actually prefer to engage with automation than they would with a live agent.
Interesting. So with that being said, what would you suggest that collection agencies do today?
So there's three ways that agencies are using intelligent virtual assistants today.
Okay.
The first is just answering inbound calls, right?
Sure.
So as we know, there's a lot of transactions today that agents have to pick up on the inbound side that may not generate revenue. Maybe, do not call me. I need to update my address on file.
The wrong numbers.
Exactly. Yep. All these don't generate any revenue, and they really bog down your agents. And a lot of those people that call in, maybe they're just calling to make a simple payment.
Right.
So a lot of agencies are just using intelligent virtual assistants to answer those inbound calls, and in the right situation, if it's required, pass those calls over to a live agent.
Sure.
A secondary way is creating outbound campaigns. So doing what you're already doing today, but supplementing that by adding a virtual assistant to create additional outbound traffic. And what that can do is really bring in a lot more revenue than you would have thought otherwise.
Right.
The third way is partial automation. So a lot of people think AI is this 100% or nothing kind of thing, but we have a lot of customers who are using automation in some parts of the transaction and live agents in others. So maybe you set up a payment arrangement with the live agent, and when they're ready to pay, pass it over to an intelligent virtual assistant to collect that credit card information and get the customer on their way. So you don't have the agent getting bogged down with some of that data collection process.
That's very helpful. Thank you. Really appreciate you joining us here today, Dan.